What's going on, y'all? This is Traveling Man coming to y'all with a new YouTube video, and I want to make this too long, but I want to. I was coming up with some thoughts to come up with a brand new video on a new topic, but our brother Will Smith decided to come out with a statement, and people are starting to about why he turned down Django. Now he's changed his tune again, and unfortunately, I figure people will be smart enough to look over that, but people are really taking this serious. So I'm gonna really just quickly, just explain the truth, man. Will turn down that role because it's a threatening role. I mean, it's a role about an ex-slave that kills white folks. I mean, and like I say, it's just a movie. Like I say, it was a hit. I mean, there was some controversy in the beginning, but it was a across the board success. That's the only reason Will turned it down. It's a brother, killing white people. That's it. There's nothing else to it. He's trying to save face now because people are really starting to finally, for a reason, at least question him. Before that, I'm not gonna lie, even I was kind of blinded by the spell until I really started to watch his movies over and over again and just seeing the monotonous tone that he was taking with every movie. But that's all it is. Like I said, the most threatening role he played was a watered down Ali. And I mean watered down. And like I said, that movie didn't talk about, when like I said, the feud with him and Joe Frazier, him calling Joe Frazier and Uncle Tom and the white man's champion and gorilla, all that kind of stuff, and how his threats, made people threatening Joe Frazier's family, and all that stuff was taken out the movie. You know what I mean? Of course, we know why. They didn't put in the movie where back in the days Ali was going to. I'd have to get real deep here. I'm not trying to disrespect Ali, but this is the real deal. People know this stuff. But you do some research. Ali was going to KKK meetings back in the days. A lot of people don't know that. Like I said, do some research or watch the Thriller Middle of the documentary for those facts. And they have a clip of Ali saying this himself. This is not me just whistling Dixie. And like I said, and also a lot of people haven't seen. There was a movie called The Greatest that came out back in '77. It was an autobiographical movie about Muhammad Ali, starring Ali. Really, it's a good movie. But hey, man, the man was saying the man was saying cracker left and right in the movie because that's the way Ali talked back then. I mean, it is what it is. That was more real than the Will Smith movie. But we can't go there with Will because it's that's too threatening for him. Even if he's just acting, we can't even go with him acting wise. So that's the only reason. And like I said, once again, I'm not disrespecting Ali. I love Ali. He's a hero. I mean, he grew up and changed a lot of his ways. But let's go. Let's be honest, man. Because I mean, it's easy to praise somebody now. That, let's be honest, can barely talk. They didn't like Ali back in the day of how outspoken he was. And like I said, he did grow up, but they didn't too much care for him back in the days. But now that he can't talk, we love him now. It is what it is. Martin Luther King, I mean, we loved him back in the day. Excuse me, he wasn't. We love him now that he's a martyr. That he's, it's easy to praise a man when he's in a box in the ground. But when he was alive, he was getting locked up. He was getting beat by police, this, that, and the third. But now, that he's not a threat. Now we love him. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not trying to get off the topic too much, but let's just be honest here. But like I said, once again, like I said, like I mentioned in my last video, with like Tommy Lee Jones and Denzel, real actors, when they made biographical movies, they told a real deal. Malcolm X, that was the real deal. That's how Malcolm was talking. Ty Cobb, that was the real Ty Cobb. But these actors can take it there because they respect the art. People respect that. I mean, let's be honest. Do you ever think that Will Smith would play a Malcolm X in a movie? No way. That's insane. We know he wouldn't do that. Like, not that he couldn't go there acting wise, but that role is too threatening for him. I don't like movies that are sugar coated. I want to see the real deal. If it's the real deal, then it's the real deal. If it's the truth, then it's the truth. That's why I actually haven't seen that movie, the new movie Lincoln. I want to check it out. It looks well done. Steven Spielberg is one of my favorite directors as well. But I'm just wondering how they're going to portray Lincoln. Because, when I was taught in school, I was taught that Lincoln freed the slaves in the sense that, he woke up one day and almost like, he just decided slavery was wrong. And that's just not the fact. If you read his memoirs, I had to do this research, my own as I got older. But, read his memoirs, he said if he could preserve the Union without freeing the slaves, he would do that. That Civil War was all about business. The South was, because they had slavery, there was no competition. So they were making a lot of more money and had a lot more power than the North. So that's the reason we went to war. It was not because well, they woke up one morning and said slavery was wrong, but that's what I was taught in school, and that's just not the fact. Lincoln also said in his memoirs that if he could, well, like he said, like any man, I want to see white men in superior positions. Yeah, that's just the way he is. I'm not disrespecting Lincoln. It is what it is. I'm not saying he's any worse, but he's not any better. But that's the real deal. Same thing with Gandhi. I thought Gandhi was just this perfect Mother Teresa type man, but he's referred to black people as coppers. He said that black people are one step, I think, above below the animals, above the animals in their worth on this earth. These are quotes directly from him. Like I said, I had to read this stuff on my own as I got older. But what I'm saying is I want to see the real deal. I don't want to see sugar-coated stuff. That's corny. But I don't, but like I said, I still want to see Lincoln. But I'm just saying, if we're going to go there, let's just tell the truth. If we're going to go there, if not, let's just leave it alone. That's my whole thing. And like I said, going back to Will Smith, it's funny that all of a sudden after the smoke clears, he wants to say, I didn't take Django because he wasn't the main character. Like, if he would have said this up front, I would have at least understood it. I mean, I probably wouldn't have believed it, but I would be more, more receptive to that if he would have said this up front. But only after the movie's over and it's a success, now you come out with this statement. That's why I know it's a bunch of baloney. But sad thing is, I think a lot of people really believe in, oh, maybe that's really why he didn't do the movie. No, he didn't. It's because Django is about an ex-slave that kills white folks. That's just that simple. You know what I mean? There's nothing else more to it. I mean, that's the lane that Will Smith is at right now. And what's funny is, he wasn't the main character with that, but he had no problem. But at the same time, y'all remember he did The Legend of Bagger Vance. He didn't mind playing second fiddle to Matt Damon, where he plays this white man's caddy back in the 1930s. I mean, that's funny just even thinking about it. That's funny to me. I mean, come on now. I mean, you don't mind playing that, but with Django, all of a sudden, you finally woke up after 20 years of doing the same roles. I mean, stop it. Come on now. The word is out on Big Will. That's just it. And I think one of the underlining things is a lot of people might have missed. I actually didn't think about it. I wish I would have put it in my last video, but I'll put it in this one. And I'll put up Will's article where he talked about why he turned down Django. But people wondering, like, why did you turn down a Tarantino movie? And like I said, you had time to do Men in Black 3 and After Earth in between, but then you go and do a M. Night Shyamalan movie. After Earth is directed by M. Night Shyamalan, the guy who did The Sixth Sense and The Village and what's the name of the movie? Unbreakable, and I like M. Night Shyamalan. He makes good flicks. I liked about the first 3 or 4, like Unbreakable, Sixth Sense, Signs, The Village. I thought those were good. After that, started getting kind of funny. They started kind of become kind of really repetitive as far as the endings. It's always a little storyline here with like a twist at the end. It's that got kind of stale a little bit, but. I mean, just to be honest with you, Tarantino, every movie he drops is a hit. And also, not only that, his movies are well received, but on the other hand, M. Night Shyamalan, he hasn't had a solid hit in about 7 years. I mean, it's like, why would you pick him over Tarantino? And it's simple. Once again, After Earth. Another sci-fi movie, about a man and his son fighting with aliens and sci-fi monsters, and Django Unchained is about a ex-slave killing white people. It's just that simple. No more, no less. Don't overthink it. That's the reason he turned it down. Don't believe anything else. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but it might be the end, or it might be a crossroads. Like I said, Will, he needs to take a look at Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme. I mean, hey man, they rode the wave in the 80s and early 90s, but after a while, people are like, okay, I'm tired of seeing that crap. Every movie is about doing kung fu, and every movie is about blowing stuff up. It's like, we want to see something else. He might want to take note. The word is out on Will. £7. That did okay. Like I said, once again, the budget was like 55 million, which is bad for Will Smith, but pretty much, like I said, it was more dramatic, but really he still played a non-threatening character, but whatever. But Men in Black 3, and to play devil's advocate, it didn't do in the U.S. It like flopped to about maybe $40-50 million, but to play devil's advocate, that was the summer of the Avengers, so that kind of wiped everything else out. But I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see what this After Earth movie does. If this movie doesn't do well either, it might be over for Will, or he definitely might have to reevaluate. So that's all it is. Will is concerned with, he's made his money, so that's not the concern. The concern is just doing non-threatening roles. As long as the role is non-threatening, he'll do it. I mean, that's all it is. Don't believe into this hype. Or he all of a sudden woke up. Well, I wasn't the main character. Man, come on now. The people, please don't buy into that. I said I don't want to make this video too long, but I just want to get right to the point. He didn't take Django because Django was too threatening of a role for Will Smith. Look at his entire career, and like I said, the only thing we have is a diet Muhammad Ali. That's as far as he went, and that's as far as he's going to go. At least from what I've seen. So Django, there's no way he's going to do that. Really looking at it, I wish he would have, but he didn't do it. He's not going to play any roles that are threatening. So that's the only reason he turned it down. He can try to flip it any way he wants. Like I said, he's trying to save face now because people are starting to question him on it. But he just didn't do it because the role is threatening. That's it. So, and like I said, I don't want to make the video too long. I'm going to end this right now. Look forward to new videos later. I've got a few ideas. I'm going to come up with another YouTube video, but not exactly sure yet. I got a few ideas. I'm going to take my time with these last couple. But y'all take it easy. Have a good day.